Good morning. We are starting to review for our geometry test that we have on Monday. So I gave you a review sheet after your quiz yesterday. So just make sure that you have gone through that. And that's what we're about to kind of go through a little bit today. So your proctor does have the solutions for that. So just make sure that you check those before the weekend so that you can know what you need to study, know what you know what you don't know. So just be prepared. Okay, so here are some of the examples that we are going to do today. So this says if DF is equal to 42, find DE. Okay, so here we got 7x plus a 1 and 4x minus a 3. Okay, so remember this is our addition property. So DE plus EF is going to be equal to DF. Okay. The only way that we can find DE is by knowing that scenario is that these two segments added together is going to give you your total. That'll give you, whenever you're able to do that, that'll let you solve for X. Then when you can solve for X, then you'll plug it in and you can solve for DE. So here we'll have 7x plus a 1 plus 4x minus a 3 is going to be equal to a 42. Okay, combine, so 7x plus a 4x is going to be an 11x minus a 2 is equal to 42. Add your 2, so you're going to have 11x equals a 44. So x is going to be equal to 4. That's not what it asked for, it asked for DE. So now DE here is going to be 7 times 4 plus a 1, so that's going to be 29. If S is the midpoint of RT, so basically if I have RT here and S is the midpoint, then that means that that's creating two equal sides there. Okay, if RS is 5x plus 17 and ST is 8x minus 31, find RS. Okay. So the only way that I can do that is that if it's a midpoint, then these two segments are going to be congruent. So that means that 5x plus a 17 is going to be equal to 8x minus a 31. I solve here, so we're going to subtract 8x. So you're going to get a negative 3x plus a 17 is equal to a negative 31. Subtract 17. So you're going to get negative 3x is equal to a negative 48. So x here is going to be equal to a 16. Okay, so now if I'm trying to find RS, that means I'm going to plug 16 in for my x. Okay, so I should get a 97. Look here. If B is the midpoint of AC, okay, so if B is the midpoint of AC, so that means that those two segments are going to be congruent, those are equal. So AC, so then AC is going to be equal to CD. So those now two are going to be equal to each other. Okay, so AC is equal to CD. If AB is equal to 3x plus 4 and AC is equal to 11x minus 17 and CE, okay, so CE is 49, find DE. Okay, Okay, so if I know that this is going to be the same as over here, okay, those two sides are going to be equal to each other. Okay, well, I can find x by saying that these two things added together. I could also know that this is 3x plus a 4. Okay, so 3x plus a 4 plus 3x plus a 4 is going to be equal to 11x minus a 17. So this will help me solve for x here. So 3x plus 3x, so that's a 6x plus an 8 is equal to 11x minus 17. Subtract the 11. So I'm going to get a negative 5x. Subtract your 8. So you're going to get a negative 5x is equal to a negative 25. So x is going to be equal to a 5. Okay? Okay. So now let's look. So if I'm looking for this distance here for DE, okay, I need to find what AC is. Okay, so I need to find what AC is. Okay, so I'm plugging 5 in for my x here. So 5 times 11 is 55 minus a 17 is going to give me a 38. Okay, so AC is going to be equal to CD. Okay, so that means that this distance is also going to be 38. Okay, so to find this remaining piece right here, I can just say 49 minus 38. 49 minus 38 will give me an 11. So DE is going to be equal to 11. Okay. Okay. So I will now, this one is find BC if B is 8 negative 7 and C is negative 4, 2. So if I wanted to find BC, that means I want to find the distance between BC. So the distance formula is going to be your x2 minus your x1 squared plus your y2 minus your y1 squared and the square root of that. Okay? Alright, so here's your x1, y1, x2, y2. So the distance here for BC is going to be your x2, so negative 4 minus 8, all of that squared, negative 2 minus a negative 7 squared. So negative 4 minus an 8, so that's a negative 12 squared. Negative 2 plus a 7 is a 5 squared. So negative 12 squared is a 144 plus a 25. So this is the square root of 169, which is a 13. So the distance BC is going to be equal to a 13. Okay. All right. So here, this one wants you to find the midpoint of HK. So the midpoint formula is x1 plus x2 divided by 2, y1 plus y2 divided by 2. Okay, so here's my x1, y1, here's my x2, y2. Okay, so negative 1 plus a negative 7 divided by 2, and 2 plus a negative 4 divided by 2. So it'll be negative 8 divided by 2, so that's a negative 4, and that's a negative 2, so that'll be a negative 1. Okay? Okay, if the measure of angle D, E, and F is 117 degrees, find the value of X. So that means that this whole angle is equal to 117. So that means that D, E, and G plus G, E, and F should be able to add together to give you 117. So that means 12x plus a 1 plus 5x minus a 3 is going to be equal to 117. So that's a 17x minus a 2 is equal to 117. Okay, so add your 2, so this is going to be a 17x, so 119. So x is going to be equal to a 7. Okay. All right. If KM bisects J, K, and L, so J, K, and L, so KM bisects that. So that means that's creating two equal angles right there. So if the measure of J, K, and L is 92, so this big angle right here is 92 degrees, measure of M, K, and L is 5x plus a 1, find the value of x. Okay, so the only way I can do that is this is also going to be 5x plus a 1. So 5x plus a 1 plus 5x plus a 1 is going to be equal to a 92. So that's a 10x plus a 2 is equal to 92. So that's a 10x is equal to a 90. So x is going to be equal to a 9. Okay. Number 8 here, if I wanted to solve for x, so that means that these two angles, those are vertical angles, so those are going to be equal. So this will be 10x plus 1 is going to be equal to 12x minus a 5. So that'll be a negative 2x is equal to a negative 6, so x is going to be equal to a 3. Okay, what about this one here? This one is solving for x, but these two angles are not vertical angles, but they are a linear pair, so they would add to be 180. Okay, so that means that 4x plus a 7 plus 2x plus a 5 is going to be equal to a 180. So that's going to be a 6x plus 7 plus a 5, which is a 12. Subtract your 12, so it's a 6x equals a 168. Divide both sides by 6, so x is going to be equal to a 28. Okay? Alright. If angle 1 and angle 2 form a linear pair, so a linear pair means they add to be 180. If measure of angle 1, so linear pair just means that the two angles are in a straight line. So if this is 1 and this is 2, I'm not drawing these to scale because I really don't know what the answers are going to be, but just know that's what a linear pair would look like. Okay, so if measure of angle 1, so this would be 8x minus a 1, and this would be 23x plus a 12. I may have these backwards, but if I wanted to find measure of angle 2, the only way I can do this is to find x. The only way I can do that is to say that these two added together are going to add together to be 180. Okay, so 18x plus a 23x is going to be what? 41x plus an 11. Subtract, so it's a 41x is going to be equal to 164. and divide 164 by 41, so that's going to be a 4. Okay, so angle 2 is going to be equal to 23 times 4 plus a 12. So 23 times 4 plus a 12 is going to be a 104. All right. Let's do another one. In the diagram, angle AF and B is going to be equal to EF and D. So that means that AF and B is going to be equal to EF and D. If the measure of EF and D is 5x plus 6 and DF and C, so DF and C is 19x minus 15, and EF and C here, this whole thing, is 17x plus a 19. Find angle AFE. Okay, so these two angles right here should add together to give you this 17x plus a 19. So angle EF and D plus angle DF and C should add together to be angle EFC. So that's 5x plus a 6 plus 19x minus 15 should add together to be 17x plus a 19. So 5x plus a 19x is a 24x minus 15 plus a 6, which is a negative 9. Well, let's switch some sides. So subtract the 17 with that 24. So it's going to be a 7x. And add, so it's going to be a 28. So x is going to be equal to a 4. Okay? All right, so now if I can find angle EF and C, which is going to be 5 times 4 plus a 6, so it's going to be 26 degrees. Then also angle AF and B is going to be 26 degrees. Okay, and I know now this is a straight line right here. So this angle up here, straight line, is equal to 180. So I would say 180 minus 26 minus 26. Okay, so that would be what? 180 minus 26 minus 26. So it would be a 128. Would be angle AFB. Okay, I want to do one more question. It's really a question about midpoint. Okay, so if I know that the midpoint is at, let's say I have XY, okay, and Z is the midpoint. Okay, and if Z here is at -4 and 8, okay, and X is at -10 and 9. Okay, what if I needed to find the Y coordinate? Okay, so what this means is that my midpoint is X1 plus X2 divided by 2, and Y1 plus Y2 divided by 2. So now I don't know my Y coordinates, okay? So let's just call that A and B, right? Okay, so Z, though, is the midpoint, okay? So what I'm looking for here is that I have -10 plus an A all over a 2, and I have 9 plus a b all over 2. Okay, and it's going to be equal to a negative 4, 8. Okay, so that means that my x coordinate is going to be equal here, and my y coordinate is going to be equal to here. So now I could find this by multiplying. So multiply both sides by 2. So this will be a negative 8 is equal to negative 10. Add your 10, so the coordinate of your a, which is going to be the x value, is going to be a 2. Over here, if I multiply by 2, so I'm going to have a 16 equals a 9 plus a b. So I'm going to have a 7. So the y coordinate is going to be a 7. Okay, so that's just kind of working backwards with your midpoint. Okay. All right, collinear points. So let's talk about some definitions. So collinear means that they are in the straight line. Okay, remember you name a line with 2 points. At least 2 points. Okay, so you can name a line L, okay, or if it passes through AB, you could also call that line AB. Okay, a plane, you name a plane with like a little script, okay, or 3 non-collinear points. Okay? So just know that. Remember, we have points. We call it point, I don't know, R, something like that. Okay? So that's how you would name your points. Okay? Remember, vertical angles are going to be equal. So vertical angles will be equal. Linear angles add together to be 180. Complementary angles add to be 90. Supplementary angles add to be 180. Okay, so those are some really good definitions that you need to remember. Okay, all right, so I want you to finish up that study guide and feel comfortable about it. Work through it. There's a lot of problems, but there won't be that many on your test on Monday, so don't freak out about that. But if you have any questions, let me know. Y'all have a great weekend.